Welcome to Good Burger Reviews. My name is John, and I'm here to review a brand new 2026 movie, and that is Shark Terror.
My daughter's gone overboard.
Follow me.
You tried to kill me.
My stupid brother and his dumb friend try to rob.
This movie was released to Roku and Tubi in the spring of 2026. It is directed by Mario Banassin. It stars Michael Paré, Sarah Leaving, and Carly Medina. Basic premise. After falling overboard during a cruise, a young woman washes ashore, injured, stranded, and stalked by sharks, as her desperate mother races to find her. So the sharks are really on the loose this year. I feel like we are not even into June and July, and I am on my fourth shark review of the year. And I'm okay with that. Last year, I didn't start reviewing shark movies until June because we were celebrating the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Well, for some reason, this summer, the sharks are out early. So we're going to get started with shark season by reviewing another streamer on sharks. And this movie is definitely a movie blend. And I'm kind of surprised to see what movies are blending with this one. But when I think of Shark Terror, it blends Jaws with Send Help. But there's also a little bit of Open Water, even a little bit of Titanic, and even a little bit from the movie The Meg. So with no further ado, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly on Shark Terror. So in the positive, I'm going to put two things. One, this movie has sharks in it. Two, there was some decent visuals in parts. And I basically mean some of the water scenes, some of the boat pictures, some of the views of the ship sailing. There's this cruise liner, which it doesn't seem like a passenger cruise liner. It seems more like a work operating cruise liner. That cruise liner, the videos of that, the images of that were pretty spectacular. And the images of the water and sometimes the sharks in the water was pretty decent. There was decent cameras used on some of these shots, and I was quite impressed with the island that our protagonist ends up on was quite beautiful as well. And that will lead me to the mixed. So in the mixed is basically going to be, how in the heck does a movie like this even get put to streaming? And I guess the reason I'm mixed on is it's just the acting, the story, the nonsensical things, and we're going to break it all down in the negative spoiler section, but I just think with the combination of how rough some of this was, I get mixed on the fact is that this movie was made into production and put into a streaming service. And on some of these streaming services it's free, but other streaming services you have to pay. So, I mean, another movie that I think that kind of stuck its nose in here I had reminders of was The Strangers Chapter 2. And we'll get into that in the negatives. So let's just break down this story and pick out all the things that I want to roast and rant about the shark movie on, because this one is rough. To be honest, after just sitting through watching this, I honestly think that this one could make my top 10 worst shark movies easily, possibly in slot 2 or even 1. I have to let it simmer before I officially say it has outbeaten the number 1 slot for worst shark movies. It definitely could be sitting in number 2.
The tide's coming in. We don't have much time.
Then we need to get help. Right now.
Nothing is going to get in the way of me finding my daughter.
Go.
So in the negatives, before we break down the story as it unravels in the movie, I'm just going to say there is so much nonsensical stuff with the sharks, with the island, with the character decisions. It really is a rough watch. And unless you really want to sit down, have a few drinks, and laugh at a movie like this, because This one makes Thrash look like an Academy Award nominee.
Sharks on the loose in the category 5 storm. Let's move.
Here they come! Bet you never saw this on Shark Week.
This movie opens up on this big vessel of a boat where you have this woman who is sailing with her daughter. They are grieving characters, which, you know, that's another thing that I love to whine about when complaining about terrible movies, is why is there always a single parent, father's dead, you got the grieving mother, the grieving daughter, and is it really relevant to this plot involving a shark? No, it isn't. We just have that for the fact that so that they can be grieving and so that there can be some development between the two characters, because they're not getting along at first until everything starts to unravel. And we also have some criminals. So this is another one with sharks with criminals. And there's about a gang of 3 or 4 criminals, and they are employees of the cruise line, but what they're doing is they're petty criminals, really. They're breaking into rooms and robbing people's cabins while they're out and about on the ship. It's 2 brothers and another guy, and the one brother had gotten him the job and was trying to get him not to be robbing rooms because he had stuck his neck out for him. But they literally get caught in the middle of their job by the young daughter, who was just arguing with her mother and trying to get away from her, going back to her room to realize, why are there 3 strange men in the room? And okay, so like how it gets stupid right out the gate is, I mean, this is a very petty thing that they were doing. I don't know what they even got off with besides maybe some luggage items, maybe some light electronics. And they said, we can't have any witnesses, so we're going to throw her overboard. So we're going to go to cover up a petty theft of a cabin room robbery. We're going to attempt to murder a young girl and think that we're going to get away with that. So that's the route that this movie starts on.
You are one pathetic loser. No offense.
So the girl gets thrown overboard, but in the scuffle, two of the 3 little criminals fall over as well. The brother that was more evil, and the other guy who basically is shark bait. His name can be shark bait because he dies pretty much right away.
Shark bait.
Shark bait!
Meanwhile, Mother and the captain of the ship were talking and they were getting acquainted. It turns out they have a connection. They both knew her dead husband. He basically was ex-military with the husband, and of course she was married. And it's to note that she's also ex-military, which plays a role into what goes down once they realize daughter's missing and overboard.
Nothing is going to get in the way of me finding my daughter.
A lot of things that could have been fixed in this movie would simply just be having a measuring tape and measuring things and understanding dynamic and depth and oceans and lakes and beaches and islands and boats and all that stuff. But it seems as though that maybe, I mean, I will give this movie a little bit of credit. It's probably a very low budget. Not that low because it does have moving sharks in it. But okay. So they get stranded on an island after being chased down by sharks. So like, it seemed like this giant boat can't be anywhere near a random island or it would get caught up on it. And when she initially falls off the boat, it's quite deep. But moments later, we see her close to a shoreline, like she's already at the island. And as soon as she lands on the island with the brother, I'm already getting a send help vibe. Like literally we just saw Send Help in theaters, and that was a great Sam Raimi stranded on an island movie. This island is about as sad as the movie is, because literally they would do these faraway shots of the island, which was just an AI generate of a random island with nothing on it, not even a tree, not even anything, and it's extremely small and the tide's coming in. But small islands like this don't generate big waves crashing in on them, so there's that. So you could tell where they actually filmed was like on mainland, and they just did all their filming right at the edge of the beach, and then they would do these faraway shots to make it seem like it was a desert island.
Coast joined the land of the living.
How long?
You been out? Day and a half?
Have you tried making a distress signal?
Or a bigger fire.
I was busy trying to keep us alive.
But getting us out of here, that should be your focus, not being Susie Homemaker over here.
What did you just say to me?
Let's not forget, I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore, Bradley.
I'm getting the send help vibe because they get stranded. She's got a hurt leg, a broke leg. He's got a bit leg as well, so they both can't do much. Not that it mattered because the island was allegedly super small anyway, and they're pretty much just going to sit there and play a little bit of Send Help Meets The Strangers Chapter 2. And what I mean by that is they're trying to start a fire, and I thought maybe they should call Maya from The Strangers Chapter 2 because Maya can start a fire after an entire night of rain. And these guys are on a desert island that's drenched all the time, and everything on the island is drenched, and there's no way you're going to start a fire. Now, luckily, they never succeeded at start a fire. They attempted with a lighter and a pair of broke sunglasses, though, to start a fire. Why they needed a fire when they're on a desert island with no cover in heat? Like, I would imagine it was hot. Now, you would think that because they're on this island, even though it's fairly small, that they're pretty much safe from the sharks. Oh, no. The sharks come in like Frankie Avalon in Back to the Beach, surfing in on waves and come onto the sand and get a few snaps on them and then wiggle their way back in like Mambo number 5. Meanwhile, back on the boat, they're trying to unravel. First of all, the one brother who stayed on the boat, the evil of the two, he basically tries to lie and then tries to lock her mother in their cabin room, which does not work. So he locks her in, and it was such a bizarre scene where she's like, I get the feeling you're locking me in and not helping me find my daughter. And he's like, no, the door's stuck. And then she busts through this door like, I don't know, like Bruce Willis in any action movie. I mean, she just cuts through this door and she's like, we're going to the captain right now. And they go to the captain, and there's all this, the acting is terrible, especially with the captain. The captain is a terrible actor. He was a disaster. He's instructing people to call the Coast Guard. They're doing a search. They're going to send the smallest boat to go back to try and find these two people who fell off the boat. And it, like, when I say it's a small boat, it reminded me of the boat that was in the end of the Meg, when it was like 4 of them could fit on this very small motorized boat. But it was giving me the feeling of the small little raft that Martin Brody and Jackie rode at the end of Jaws 2. And I thought, how is any shark could easily bite this boat in one bite and it'd be cooked. But this boat does a lot of traveling through shark-infested water. Oh, and by the way, the amount of sharks in this water is insane. It just, it's not 1 or 2, it's like 100, and they're all hungry.
I'm gonna get you!
Oscar, look out!
Oscar, swim! Swim for your life! You're gonna regret the day you became the Shark Slayer.
Oh, well. Look who's stuck in the porthole.
Huh?
You still hungry, big guy? Well, say hello to my little friends.
Now, another dumb comical thing was the bad brother was told not to go on the search boat, but the mother was allowed to go on the search boat because she had background in the military, and she was too determined to go anyway. And she gets on this boat with 3 other people, and one of them is the other brother who she just spent some serious time with in a disguise, and the disguise is half of a ski mask. You can clearly see his eyes. I'm like, how does she not know that that's the guy that was just told not to go on the boat? That was the guy that basically caused all this drama, and he's on the boat. And she literally gets to the scene where one of the guys gets eaten off the boat, and she turns to him. She's like, why didn't you help? And she's like, and who are you? And she just peels down, it's you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious? You didn't know it was him? Like, this is just beyond rough.
Hello?
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna slice you up.
Who is
I'm
this?
gonna chop you like liver.
What do you want?
I'm in the house. Do you know where I am? I could be anywhere. I'm like the wind, baby. Yeah. Where am I?
You're behind the couch.
What? How do you know that?
I can, see your feet.
Ah. Okay, turn around. Close your eyes. No peeking. Yeah. No. No. Hey, no peeking. No peeking. Turn around. Good. Okay, now you can look. Now do you know where I am? You don't.
No, Mr. Killer. I don't know where you are.
Then the shark knocks over the speedboat with them in it. Now there's four of them. There was originally 5 of them. Now there's 4 of them. And one guy gets underneath and he's trying to repair the boat, and he literally cuts his index finger, the smallest little cut. And it was just like I said at the end of Deep Water that I just reviewed, that's in the theaters, where they dump the fish in the water and the sharks instantly smell it. And like literally the shark is like, squirrel, and basically swims right up to this guy who pricked his finger and eats him.
My master made me this collar. He is a good and smart master, and he made me this collar so that I may talk. Squirrel!
Meanwhile, back on the island, they are trying to keep the water from, like, the tides coming in. It takes like all day for this tide to move so super slow, even though they keep saying the tide's coming in. It never looked like it was coming in. And it was funny because, like, literally I said this about the movie Thrash, where the water was always being accused of rising, but you never saw it rising, but then it would flash to something and come back and the water would rise. Well, literally the same thing happens here. The water was never coming in, never coming in. All of a sudden we flash to the speedboat, a couple scenes, we're back, and the island's gone. The water has completely taken over the island. You can't even see it. And they're just barely floating. And I'm thinking, yeah, you can't get the water right. You can't get the sharks right. You can't even get the characters right. Meanwhile, back on the main boat, the captain finds out that this one guy, Cyrus, who also apparently was bad, who never called the Coast Guard, which we never elaborate as to why, because it was the other dudes who were bed robbing and throwing people overboard. He had nothing to do with it, except for he turned off the cameras. Maybe that's why. But he had turned off the cameras so they could get away with their little crimes. So, and then Cyrus never calls the Coast Guard. So 5 hours had gone by, and they thought the Coast Guard was coming. He told them they'd be there in an hour, and the Coast Guard was never coming. Eventually, this captain calls back to the Coast Guard and gets them to come. And then they're told, there's this whole vickery about they might come, why'd we wait so long to call, blah, blah, blah. And then they showed up right away. Okay. Meanwhile, Mama, who's psycho, out on the speed raft, literally is down to her and the one girl and the brother, and the shark comes and flips over the boat like a pancake, like literally just boom. And they go to get back in the boat. Of course, the one girl, I knew she was next because brother was going to be the last one to get eaten. You know he's going to get eaten too. But the girl gets eaten. The brother and the mother get back on the boat, and she beats the shark with an oar like a mother spanking her child at the mall. It was too ridiculous. Like she beats the shark with the oar. Okay, so meanwhile the helicopter circling around, can't see anything because it's dark. She was sent on this boat with one flare. Like, okay, there was more equipment, but I guess when the boats had flipped over multiple times, there was more stuff that sunk when the boat flipped the first time. But I don't think any of it was artillery. It was like computers and trackers and stuff. So she has this one flare, which there's this whole plot point about every time they wanted to shoot the flare up to get rescued, she's like, no, I will use this when I find my daughter. And we get to the way end where she finally finds them. The sharks are practically have them half eaten. Because she had a broke leg. And there was at some point where he tried to set the leg. And I thought, man, none of this is making sense. This is way worse than even what I said about Apex, about how injured people should be, that they can't be climbing cliffs. Well, this girl shouldn't have even been able to stay afloat for more than 2 seconds. She could barely sit on the island when there was sand. And Mother shows up just in the nick of time to rescue her and rescue the young man. And she shoots the shark in the face with a flare gun. And it stops the shark dead in its tracks with just a little flare gun. And I thought, are you serious? There's no way that would stop a shark dead in its tracks, and it dies. Like, it just like literally just stopped and paused and dies. And you see like it looked like coal, like fire coals that were in its mouth, just slowly smoldering away. And then they get brought, then it flashed back to them going to the main ship where they reunite with the captain, and there's this whole drawn out little dramatic scene. It probably is the most engaging scene between the mother and the brother that was with the girl the whole time. And she wanted to yell at him, but she's like, and the young girl was like, no, I wouldn't have lived if it wasn't for him. And, meanwhile, he really was never guilty. He just got his other brother the job, which caused all of it. So in a way, it was like indirectly responsible for this whole mess. But she and him have this like 2-minute conversation while she's in 2-minute surgery. And after her 2-minute surgery, she comes out clean as a whistle. And I thought, what the heck? Because the captain's like, oh, daughter's out of surgery. You can go see her now. I'm like, they were talking for like 2 minutes. Are you serious? Like, and it was just this little bit of the mother and daughter reunite. They apologize. They mend their fences. They're not going to sell their house. They're going to be a happy family. And probably this young boy is going to be young girl's boyfriend. The end. I will just say this movie is insane. We're going to get down to business on this one. I'm giving it a spam. It was really rough. I feel like there's just so many reasons why it just seemed like little to no effort on all the parts. And I mean, it's not even worth watching for fun. I mean, I had some fun with some of the small parts, but it really is the sharks that, like, there isn't enough shark action to save all the rest of the stupidity of this movie. So I'm giving it a spam. This is a spam burger. This is definitely something that you would find at the bottom of the Walmart bin. It's rough. I recommend skipping it even for free. This is Johnny with Good Burger Reviews saying, don't forget to stay scared of sharks that can surf and belly spin.